New reports on Josh Giddey's future contract with the Chicago Bulls revealed. Of course, the Chicago Bulls missed out on the NBA playoffs and now hold the 12th best odds for the first overall pick and the chance to add some youth until this core. However, the biggest question is Josh Giddey $1 million man, and is the Chicago Bulls going to pay him that money? We get to find all that out here with the news that just dropped. Hello, my name is Isaias Jackson Jr. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. We're going to get into all the Josh Giddey news. However, 67.5% of you guys aren't subscribed. 32.5% of you guys are. Look, we appreciate you guys on both sides of the fence. And look, I know the offseason can sometimes seem a little slow. However, that's not Bulls Digest. The Bulls Digest are 1,000 miles and running. We're going to keep the tempo going. We're going to give you all the Chicago Bulls news. We're going to react to everything that's going on with the Chicago Bulls, whether happily or miserably. And we're going to have some fun to doing it as well. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you want to join us in that fun ride as well. The new reports on Josh Giddey's future contract with the Chicago Bulls have been revealed. Of course, while Chicago saw progression from rookie Buzelis from the start to the end of the season, they also saw their two young guards, Coby White and Josh Giddey, play at an all-star level after the break. Giddey is set to be a free agent this summer. However, and a new report reveals that the Chicago Bulls may have plans set as to how they approach this contract negotiation. I think that should scare a lot of people right there. Just right off the bat right there. I feel like a lot of Bulls fans have faith in Josh Giddey. Of course, Josh Giddey didn't have the greatest start with the Chicago Bulls, but I mean, he didn't have the greatest ending with OKC either. Of course, with everything that went on with the allegations and what he went through. And he needed a new change of scenery, as we mentioned before here on the program. And even with that, he struggled a little bit, and after the break, as it says here, we just completely lit up. This whole team lit up. And of course, Josh Giddey, on a great day, he is a walking triple-double. A walking triple-double. He could do absolutely everything. He could rebound. He could pass the ball amazingly. And of course, he could shoot the rock. So you gotta love how versatile Josh Giddey is. I think that's kind of the best thing about that man, and I think that kind of answers the question of what I was talking about earlier. At least to me, it answers my question right there. Is Josh Giddey $1 million man? We're gonna look at his stats a little bit here before we answer, but according to the Chicago Sun-Time, the Bulls could opt to allow Josh Giddey to hit the open market, let him find a deal instead of offering him one, given limited suitors, and that most teams would need to make a sign and trade, a move that will likely play in Chicago's favor. However, they did write that Giddey is likely to receive a 5-year, $150 million extension, putting him in the same category as Orlando Magic's Jalen Suggs and Atlanta Hawks' Jalen Johnson. So not too shabby of company at all. And when you see the great work that Josh Giddey has done on the floor, and we talk about AK a lot here on the program as well, and with AK's recent comments about how the Chicago Bulls want to navigate here, not only in the offseason, but going into next season, do you really have faith in them to put Josh Giddey in this situation? A sign and trade is something I don't even want to think about when it comes to Josh Giddey. I think Josh Giddey has been absolutely tremendous so far with the Chicago Bulls. And like I said, he's a walking triple-double. Once he found his footing, I thought he became a man to watch. He became, and he will be, must-see as time goes on. And I think Josh Giddey himself, well, not even I know Josh Giddey himself, he can put up great numbers. You can have him at the 1, 2, and 3 if need be. And so the versatility of this man, the work ethic of this man, I think Josh Giddey definitely is $1 million man. And I think the Chicago Bulls, I think it would just be a no-brainer to just give the man the money right there. In addition to Giddey, the Bulls can also extend White this offseason, as he is set to make $12.8 million next season in the final year of his 3-year, $36 million deal. Regardless, the Bulls saw at the end of the season that this could be their future backcourt, and they have a chance to lock them both in for the long term. And I think that is pretty much the important part. You already saw what this young core could be, what this young core could look like. You know, I thought everybody, not only on the starting 5, but on the bench as well, can contribute, including the guys that was brought in, the Trey Jones and the Zach Collins from San Antonio. Great work that they've been putting in. So when you're seeing Josh Giddey also kind of leading the forefront here with him and Coby White together, I think this is just a match made in heaven right now until they show us otherwise. And I don't think they have. I don't think they've shown us otherwise at all. And we could actually look at Josh Giddey's stats as we're getting right into it. 14.6 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 7.2 assists. He's averaging a steal a game, coming up on 3 turnovers a game. Of course, that's going to change, but he's shooting 46% from the field, 37% from three-point range, a 6'8", 22-year-old man. I think that says it right there. He has so much more time to develop and be the man that the Chicago Bulls want him to be. Now, in saying that, I don't think this is going to be a Patrick Williams situation because, number one, even though the Chicago Bulls drafted Patrick Williams and wanted to pretty much mold him into the player that they wanted him to be, and it hasn't turned out that way at all, you kind of already know what you're getting out of Josh Giddey here. And although 22 years old, you're going to give him some rope. You're going to give him some time to develop and be great. And he's already shown you how great he can be there. Now, the Chicago Bulls don't need a replacement. They don't need a replacement for Josh Giddey at all. I don't trust the Chicago Bulls to even put Josh Giddey through a sign-in trade or to have a sign-in trade to get somebody better for Josh Giddey. I don't think there's anybody in the draft right now that the Chicago Bulls could pick up that could replace the work that Josh Giddey has done. And right now, I don't think there's a player for the long haul that you're going to get for Josh Giddey that's going to help the Chicago Bulls win now. Because if you're going to make a move like that, I would expect the Chicago Bulls to be in a win now situation. Not in a, well, we're still rebuilding. We still have our core, or still have our young core together. Let's try to work our way through that. Unless you are getting somebody like a Cooper Flag, don't see it happening. Don't see it happening at all. So I think Josh Giddey, looking at his contract, I think the no-brainer move for the Chicago Bulls is to sign the man, is to pay the man his money. He's worked hard. He's actually, and I don't mean to continue to bring up the allegations in itself, but when you look at how he struggled in OKC while all that was going on, and then of course you look in the beginning of the season where he's still trying to find his footing, compare it to after the break where he's just exuding with confidence. You see a smile on this man's face. Him and Kobe White, the intensity they bring to the floor, I think is on a different level, and I think that's what you need for this young core that the Chicago Bulls have. I think this works with Josh Giddey and Kobe White because at this point in time, they showed us the potential that they have. I don't think they've shown us otherwise that they can't get the job done right for the long term. It's just a matter of letting them develop, having the pieces around them, and of course, paying them their money. So what is the Chicago Bulls going to do in this situation? In my eyes, I'm hoping they give Josh Giddey the money. Hopefully Josh Giddey stays here for the long haul. $150 million. Hey, you got to pay him up there with Jalen Suggs. So, we could just look at Jalen Suggs' stats right here. If you're looking at, let me see, Jalen Suggs sitting at 16.2 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He's at 41% from the floor. He's amazing. I think he's a really, really solid guard for the Orlando Magic. You're seeing the great work that the Orlando Magic's putting in right now. I do think Josh Giddey contributes to the level of somebody like Jalen Suggs. I think that's great company there. I think we got to pay the man. But what do you think the Chicago Bulls are going to do with Josh Giddey? Do you think this is going to be the offseason where we lose Josh Giddey? Or do you think the Chicago Bulls buckle down and pay the man? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.